Hi, I'm Amy Hagan and welcome to All That Matters Online. Tonight's practice is going to be a basics practice, so anyone can do it. It's not necessarily going to be super easy. We have some balancing poses planned for you, and that's going to be the theme of our class today, like how to balance in different shapes, on 2 feet, on 1 foot, maybe from table pose. All right, and a lot of that has to do with engaging your core. And we'll do some of that during our practice today. I would like you to have something to use as a strap. If you have a yoga strap, great. If you don't, there's tons of stuff around your house that you can use. You could use a scarf, you could use a tie, you could use a belt. All right, so grab something that you can use as a strap. And one of the first things that I like to do to get into, balancing on 1 foot takes a lot of hip and leg strength. Right? But also this core comes to the party. But one of the things that's really important to do is to stretch out your hips first, and we'll strengthen them as well. All right, so we're gonna do the leg stretches with the strap to start, but first we'll do some centering breathing. So come on down onto your back, and as you come down onto your back, there's several different shapes that you can take with your legs. All right, so you could just be lying down right here. This is perfect. If your head, if you have any rounding in the upper back or any issues with your neck, resting your head on a blanket or a pillow could be really helpful, right? If your low back doesn't feel great in this position, bring the feet up to the floor and the knees up towards the ceiling. You could even walk your feet out to the edges of your mat and knock your knees together, and this might feel really nice. Creates a little space in your sacrum. Let's take both hands and bring them to the belly. Now, just in case this is the first yoga class that you're taking, we're going to review 3-part breathing. And maybe that's something that you could use as a review anyway. All right, so bring both hands to the belly, close your eyes for a moment, and let's just take a deep inhale and exhale. So inhale through your nose, and exhale right out your mouth. Give it a Awesome. So typically our yoga breathing is done in and out through the nose. So if you can today, start to shift the breath to in and out through the nose. And as you're here in this position, on this mat, in this moment, notice what might be showing up for you as far as thoughts, distractions, aches, pains, stiffness, right? The physical body and the mental body. Good, so we talk about yoga, slowing down the fluctuations of the mind, right? So let this happen today in your practice. And notice I'm not talking about clearing your mind, just slowing things down. And we do that with the breath. So shift your attention from your outside world to your inside world. And let's really start to notice our breathing. So as you breathe in, take the breath in through the nose if you can tonight. If it's not working, certainly use your mouth. Inhale through the nose and feel the belly rise, rib cage expand, and then the high chambers of the lungs up around your collarbone. And then we'll shift to the exhale, and then the upper lungs, mid lungs, belly releases, breath comes out. Inhale, feel the belly expand underneath your hands. Rib cage, heart. Exhale, heart, rib cage, belly. In and out through the nose if you can. Slow it down. Let's keep going. Breathe in, belly, rib cage, heart, and exhale, heart, rib cage, belly. Let's take 3 or 4 more breaths. And with each breath, come a little closer to slowing down the fluctuations of your mind. Good, and then from here, please extend your legs down along the floor if you don't have them there already, and reach your arms overhead and take a full body stretch here. Really open up your palms, open up your toes, roll your ankles, roll your wrists, and then reach out through the right hand as you reach through the left toes, and then reach through the left hand as you reach out through your right toes. Good, and then from here we're going to get real small. So bring the knees into the chest and curl up into a little ball. You can even take your nose up towards your knees if that might feel good. Good, and then slowly lower your head down, and let's take these knees and just rock them a few times from side to side. Massaging your low back. And then from here, let's get right into our hip joints. So one hand on each knee. Start to open your knees wide and circle them around. So your knees are going in opposite directions, which is making your hips move in a circular motion, getting the synovial fluid in your hip joint moving. All right, and then let's head in the other direction. Good, lower both feet down to the mat. Knees up towards the ceiling. Fan your toes out on the floor. From here, we're going to try and take a rolling bridge. Now, if this doesn't work for your spine, you can just do a gentle pelvic tilt. So pull the belly in, flatten out your low back. If it's okay on your spine to press into the feet and rise up, tailbone towards the knees, slowly lower down, placing each piece of your spine down onto the mat. Good. Let's cross the right ankle over the left knee or thigh, right? And you might just come up here and give a good press on the right leg to push it forward. You can reach your hands behind your left knee and pull it in here. Now, if that's too challenging for you, right, if you're really straining, especially if your head and neck is coming up off the floor, extend your arms a bit by using your yoga strap. So bring the yoga strap behind your left knee and pull the left knee towards you. Right, keep breathing and noticing. Those full body breaths, right? Inhale, belly, rib cage, heart. Exhale, heart, rib cage, belly. Good. Lower the left leg down. Right leg comes up towards the sky. Roll your ankle around. So those of you who have tight hips, pain in your low back, this is like yoga medicine for that. So let's go ahead and strap bring the strap around the sole of your foot and try to bring it where in between the heel and the arch. This is a good place for some nice support. And then begin to gently tug the leg towards you. We call this the hip opening series. I mean, there's lots of different variations of it, but it's great medicine for your low back. If you do this every day, you'll notice the pain will start to go away. So you can keep this left leg bent with the knee and the foot on the floor, or extend it down along the floor. It's going to bring a lot more energy into the pose. So if this hurts your low back, bring the foot back down. Let's take 3 more breaths in this shape. Good, and now let the leg float to neutral. Bring both ends of the strap into your left hand. Let the right hand come down to the floor. Take a nice deep breath in, and on an exhale, we're going to pull the leg across the midline of the body and then diagonal. Almost like the toes are in line with your shoulder, heading in that direction. All right, a couple breaths here to access the outer edge of your hip. And we're going to go into a full twist. So those of you who are really starting to roll over to the left side, that's coming. So see if you can just kind of experience this posture first. Good. And then let the leg come back up. And this time we're going to go across the midline of the body, or all the way across our hips here. Reach this right leg out, right arm comes out. Now if this is way too much on your low back, bend both knees and just come into a twist. All right, extending through the right arm and reaching out through the right leg. I like to land my elbow here, so you're kind of holding the leg up with the strap. Good, this will access the outer edge of the hip as well. Keep breathing. And then let's go ahead and rise this leg up. Take the strap into your right hand. Take your left knee and bring it into the body. And this is going to help you to stay in the center here. Oftentimes you kind of flop over to the side with these. So take an inhale here, and on your exhale, open the legs nice and wide. Nice, it's a great way to open up through the adductor muscles and the insides of the legs. Keep breathing. Good, and then let the legs come back up. Left foot lands down on the ground. Release the strap on the right leg and then slowly lower it down. Pause for a moment. Extend the left leg down along the floor. Let your arms come down by your side. Take a couple of breaths and just feel the difference on your two sides. Good. Let's bring both feet to the floor, knees up towards the ceiling. Walk your heels in towards your bum. And then on an in-breath, rise those hips up. Once again, if it's too hard for you to do this on your low back, just do a pelvic tilt. Inhale here, and exhale, slowly lower down. Good, so we're heading right to the other side with all of those shapes. Left ankle crosses over your right knee to start. Right? You can press this left leg forward, or bring your hands or your yoga strap behind the right leg and come into supine pigeon pose. This is also called thread the needle, figure 4 shape. Yoga can be very confusing, right? There's lots of different names, and then we start using Sanskrit names. And try and follow along. It will change your life for the better. Good, and then lower the right foot down. Bring the left foot up towards the sky. A couple of ankle rolls here. Bring the strap around your foot, preferably where the heel and the arch meet. And gently tug the leg towards you until you feel sensation, but not pain. So if your hamstrings are tight here, you might bend your knee quite a bit. Keep breathing, and then if you want more, the right leg extends. So there's so much of this practice which is about feel, right? We as yoga teachers are here to guide you into shapes and help you move in a safe way, but really there's so much about feeling in your body, right? What might feel good for you doesn't feel good for me, and vice versa. One more breath here. And then let the leg float to neutral. Take both ends of the strap into your right hand. Let the left hand just come down to the ground. Take a breath in, and on your exhale, please pull the leg across the midline of the body and diagonal. So imagine it was heading in the direction of like right over your shoulder. This is our IT band stretch, which runs right here, right along the hip, from the hips to the knee. Good, and then come back up, and this time the leg is going to come all the way across, right? Spinal twist. Extend through your left arm. If you wanted to land that elbow down, if you can come that far over, great. And remember, if this is too much on your low back, bend your knees and just come over to the side. Right gaze can come over your left shoulder. If you're in the full pose, you're here. Good. Inhaling, rise this leg up. So we move with our breath. And notice if that doesn't happen at times in your practice. Oftentimes what's happening is we're getting distracted by our outside world. Right, so take a deep breath in here as the legs come together. Right knee comes in. We're holding the strap in the left hand. Take a breath in, and on an exhale, open wide, both legs. And breathe. It's always a good idea to close your eyes and see where the mind is going. Belly, rib cage, heart. Heart, rib cage, belly. Full body breaths. Good. And then let the legs come back up to neutral. Right foot comes down, release your strap, and slowly lower this left leg down to the earth. Good, let both legs come down, let both arms come down, and just pause for a moment. Close your eyes. I know sometimes it feels like you just don't want to get up off the floor. Hey, you're at home, you can do it. No, I'd like to encourage you to do this whole video if you can. Bring the knees into the chest. So a couple of options to get to seated position. So you can roll over to your side and use your arms to help you come up. Or there's this spinal rock that can feel really nice on your back. So if you want to try that on, go for it. And then crossing your legs, we'll find a seated pose. So remember, sitting on a blanket can always be oftentimes be really nice. So if you have a blanket or a block or something that you want to lift your hips up with, that's always good. So coming on up to seated position, let's round the spine a bit. And on an in-breath, pull the chest and ribcage forward. And we're going to move through the 6 movements of the spine here. So forward bend, back bend is happening here. Now see if you can connect it to the breath. So inhaling, chest and ribcage comes through, reach the chin towards the sky. Exhale and round. If you find yourself breathing in another way, like maybe you're doing your exhale here and your inhale in the other direction, don't worry about it, right? It's all good. Just make sure you're breathing. Good. Let's come to the middle. Flow both arms up overhead. Take a deep breath in. And on your exhale, let your left hand come down as the right arm floats over to the side. Side stretch. Inhale, come back to center. And exhale. Inhale, center. And exhale. Deep breath in. Exhale, side stretch. Good, let's do one more round on each side. Breath in and out. Breath in and out. Good. Rise up, both arms reach up overhead. Take a deep breath in. Let's turn over to the left and find a spinal twist. So let your right hand come to the outside of your leg. And remember, you don't have to be sitting like this. If it's uncomfortable, you can straighten your legs out or even be on your knees. All right, turn the gaze over the left shoulder. Keep breathing. Belly, rib cage, heart. Heart, rib cage, belly. And then inhale and rise those arms up again. Big breath in. Exhale, bring the hands to the other side. And twist. Good, let's come back to center. Float both arms up. On an exhale, let both hands come down. Land them to either side of your hips. Drop your chin towards your chest and roll the head from side to side. So you check in with your neck. Right? This is a place for most of us where we hold a lot of stress and tension. I know for me it's the first place that usually goes. And if you wonder why, so it's kind of interesting when you think about the next time that you get into a situation where it's stressful. Notice where your shoulders are. Chances are they're up around your ears like this. Right? So next time that your left ear lands towards your left shoulder, let's pause and maybe nod the head a few times. You could even move your jaw. Right? then switch, roll it over. Nod and move the jaw. Feel right into the side of the neck. So another really interesting thing about the neck and shoulders, I always find this kind of cool, is about the breath. So come right back to neutral. And this is kind of an interesting thing. So relaxing breaths are full body breaths. When you think about the times in your life when you're really stressed, or even like when you get scared, say you're watching a scary movie and somebody pops out of the closet, what do? You go, right? If you do that with me at home, you'll feel the breath is here. It's not here. Right? So that's why it's stress. It wreaks havoc up in this part of our bodies. All right, cool. So let's find our way to hands and knees. If you want to have a little bit of a cushion underneath your knees, you could use a blanket if you had one. You can also roll your mat up. Maybe your knees feel perfectly fine down on the hardwood floors. Mine don't necessarily. So let's find our way towards table position and take it through a couple more rounds of cats and dogs, right? So inhale, take the tail and the crown of the head up, and the exhale rounds the spine. If you ever get confused, what's a cat, what's a dog, and sometimes folks say cows, cats and cows too, right? I always think of the Halloween cat. So the Halloween cat always has their back up like this. That's your cat tilt. And dog is here. Tailbone up. When you think about a puppy when they wake up from a nap, they do this wonderful stretch. Cats do it too, actually, but we call it puppy stretch, right? Reach the arms forward and drop the chest and rib cage down towards the mat. Stretch out through your shoulders. You don't have to come down as far as I do. Come down to a place where you're feeling a good release through the shoulders and the heart space. Good. Walk the hands back so that they're right underneath your shoulders. So there's a couple of options here if your hands feel tender or your wrists. You can come onto fists. I also, if you had a couple of yoga blocks, I've had some folks in my class do this before. Right? You can even come down onto your forearms for these. All right? But if your hands feel okay here, we're going to move to a pose called balancing table. And you should feel your core activate when we do this one. So let's start by just pulling the right leg back, tucking the toes under, and rocking a few times back and forth just to stretch out the foot. Right? And then rise your foot up. Take a look at your toes and make sure the toes are pointing down to the earth. This is going to give you an internal spiral through your thigh. Okay, so once you've got that, you can feel free to point the foot or keep it flexed, whatever feels most comfortable for you. Now, when it comes to balance, right, where we make our put our gaze can be really important. So in balancing table pose, you don't want to look forward like this. That's going to tweak the neck. You want to look down on the mat, but slightly out in front of you. All right, so here we are in the first part. You could stay right here, or the left arm reaches up. Let's take 3 rounds of breath here. Peel the belly to the spine, nice and strong. Remember, the core is a big part of balance. Good. Exhale, lower the hand down, lower the knee down. Widen your knees, float the palms up, and take it back towards child's pose. Great, let's come on up. Table pose again. Take care of yourself. If you need to change your hand position, go for it. All right, round the spine, tailbone up. And then lengthen the left leg back, toes tuck under. Rock back and forth a few times just to wake up the toes and the foot. Good, and then rise that leg up. Look at the toes, let them turn towards the floor, towards the mat, and then let the head come right in line with the spine. So what we're not going for here is this sort of stacking idea. Good. And belly pulls in. You should start to feel strong in your core here, right? Balancing table pose. Reach the right arm forward and take 3 rounds of breath. If you come into a place of pain in your low back at any time during your practice, stop doing what you're doing. Good. Lower the hand down. Widen your knees. Let's take it back towards child's pose. So in this next bit, we're going to come down onto our bellies. We're going to do a stretch for our quads, for our thighs, and then a little bit of more core work. All right, so come on down. Let's start with just stacking the hands right underneath the forehead and picking the feet up off of the floor and rocking your feet from side to side if that feels okay on your low back. Good, so the first move we're gonna do from here is to reach back for your right foot with your right hand, right? And if that seems like an impossibility, this is why it was nice to teach in person, because you could come around and help people with things like this. All right, so you can bring the strap around your foot here and come into this shape where you're pulling the heel towards you, or maybe you can reach for it. Okay, so that's where we're going, but let's set it up a little bit better. I'd like you to cross your left arm across the mat so it's giving you some support. And if this bothers your low back, you can come down here instead and just do the leg. All right? So let's find our way back. Right hand comes back towards the ankle or the foot, or you're gonna bring that strap right around your ankle. Right, pull the heel towards your butt and breathe, look forward, smile. Kick the foot into the hand, feel a stretch in the shoulder. Good. And then release it down. And let's switch sides. Right, so the right arm comes across, left hand or strap reaches back for this foot. So if anybody has knee issues too, this is a good stretch for your knees. Everybody gets right into your thighs. Stretch it out. Good, you can kick the foot into the hand, pull the heel towards your butt. Release. Turn your head to one side and let your arms come down by your sides. Relax your hips. Rock them from side to side. Good, let's take the forehead to the mat from here. All right? Take the strap out of the pose, out of the shot here. We'll reach one leg up and back, and then the other leg up and back. Right, and if your low back is really tender today, that might be all you'll do. Right? If you want to try lifting both legs up, and then floating the arms here. And we're really activating the belly and the low back. So inhale and exhale, lower a bit. Inhale, lift up. Exhale and lower a bit. 2 more. One more, breath in. Good, and then exhale and lower down. Turn your head to the opposite side this time. You might bend your knees and rock the feet. Good, from here, bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Let's press up and back towards child's pose. We're going to take a posture called downward facing dog next. If this pose does not work for you because your shoulders or your hands or your wrists are too tender, you can just take a puppy stretch and then transition with us up to standing on your own time, at your own pace. If down dog feels like it might be a pose you want to try, bringing your hands slightly in front of your shoulders, fan the fingers out nice and wide. Make sure the whole palm, right? Not just your wrist, the whole palm, especially this pointer finger, the ball behind the pointer finger, is grounding down into the mat. Tuck your toes under and rise your hips up. Now, most of us are going to keep our knees pretty bent in this one. Think about lengthening your spine rather than bringing your heels down towards the mat. I mean, they do head in that direction, but getting them to touch the mat is so not important, okay? So you can be way up high, knees bent. That's a fine place to go. Let's take 1 or 2 more breaths. Then look forward to your hands and step the feet up to your hands. Or maybe the hands come to the feet. Somewhere there in the middle. Right? Let's come into a forward folding position. Grabbing your elbows if that feels comfortable, just letting everything come forward. Try not to hinge in your vertebrae, right? That's bent, that's straight knees, vertebrae are not really, you're not helping your spine out at all here. But if you hinge at the hips and bend into your knees, you'll get a really nice stretch. Good. From here, let's press into the earth and rise up to standing. Watch for any little birds flying around your head. Come on into standing mountain pose. So in standing mountain pose, right, our feet right underneath our hips. You might want to pick your toes up. You can float back and forth, feeling the balls of the feet and then the heel. Lift your arches. Engage your thighs. Pull the belly in slightly, almost like you're zipping up a tight pair of pants. Roll the shoulders away from the ears and stand tall. Arms down by your sides. Right here, standing mountain pose. Now for a moment, close your eyes and really feel the sensation of standing strong like a mountain. Feel your breath. And as you come into this shape, right, let yourself float forward a little bit so you feel the weight come to the balls of the feet. And then let your weight shift to the heels, right? And come back and forth a couple of times like this. Right? If it feels like you need to open your eyes to help you balance, like you're going to fall over, just have a nice soft gaze. Use your breath, right? Notice if the shoulders are ending up around your ears. And then from here, we're going to go from side to side. So leaning over to the left and then leaning over to the right. So when it comes to balance, having this midline of the body activated is really important. Good. And always feeling free to bring your hand to the wall. Using a wall can be really helpful. Good. So let's try on a tree pose to start. Step into your left foot. Sense all four corners of that foot. And then see if you can take this right foot and place it on the lower part of the leg. Remember, you can hold on to a chair, a wall, wherever. If that's impossible today, the heel can land on your ankle. All right? Once you find the shape, let your arms do whatever your arms want to do. Pretty typically, we bring them up overhead. This is really good for depression, just so you know. So if you can, bring those arms up, smile. Remember, trees sway in the wind. Use your eyes to help you focus and make sure you're breathing, right? Let's come on out. Lower the foot down. We'll switch sides. All right, so we're looking for the four corners of the foot. If you're not quite sure what I'm talking about, that's what we're kind of trying to experience with that movement that we did earlier from table position, from mountain pose. So it's the 2 points below your big toe and your pinky toe, and then back here too. All right, so 2 points in the heel. Okay, so right leg is the standing leg this time. Go slow. Find your gazing point. Find your breath. Pull the belly in like you're zipping up that tight pair of pants. Let your arms help. And then land the foot to the inside of the leg for tree pose. Arms can float up. Find your breath. Good, and then lower the foot down. Let's all take a step to the top of our mat. We're going to go into a bit of a flowing, balancing shape and then into a standing posture. So here's how this is going to work. I'd like you to lift your right knee up and then pull it back, right? So you might need to land that big toe on the floor. I just needed to. Right, and come back towards a warrior 3, and then bring that knee forward again and place the foot down. So really important to have that standing foot engaged and open. Let's go to the other side. So the left knee floats up, and then we'll take it back, right? And then come forward and place it down. Now notice if you're holding your breath the whole time that you're doing this. And bring the breath to the party. So here's an inhale and exhale. Inhale, woo, and exhale. Good, place it down. And let's do that again. Left knee comes up. Inhale, pull it back. Doesn't have to be fancy. You can even touch it down, right? Inhale and exhale. Now here we go. We're going to move towards warrior one pose. So reach the right knee up and slowly pull this leg back and place it down. Good. We'll bend into the front knee. Now in warrior one pose, you can have your back heel down on the floor, or you can roll to the ball of that back foot. All right, so either one is fine. Float the arms up if you can. And let's do some movement for the upper back, right? Once again, a place where we hold a lot of stress and tension. Take an in-breath here. On an exhale, pull the shoulder blades together. Inhale, round the spine. And exhale, bring the hands to the heart. Use your eyes to help you balance here. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, and exhale. Good, one more time. Nice deep breath in. There's quite a bit of balance happening here too, right? Exhale. Inhale, and exhale. Awesome. Hands land on your hips. Step the back foot forward slightly. This next pose, we're going to keep the legs straight, right? You might need to bend your knee once you start to fold forward, but the stance is a lot smaller, right? Shorter between the back foot and the front foot, but wide too, out to the edges of your mat almost, right? From here, it might feel nice to interlace your fingers behind the back. Another great place to use your yoga strap, right? If your shoulders are tight, bring the strap in between your hands. Pull the knuckles down. Inhale here. And we're going to start to fold forward over this straight front leg, right? And if you can, reach these arms up off of your back, right? If that feels like there's no way that's going to happen, my hamstrings are way too tight, just bring your hands onto your leg and come forward like this. As you come into the shape, press into the ball of the left foot to take some of the weight to the back heel. Right, full poses here. Use your arms to rise you up. Hands to the hips, step the back foot forward, and pause. Feel a nice deep inhale and exhale. I told you, this is a basics class, but it's not necessarily easy. All right, here we go to the other side. So the right leg is the standing leg. Lift that left knee up. Take your time, use your eyes, use your core, and slowly send it back. And then step the foot down. So heel is down, hips turn forward in warrior one, or you can roll to the ball of the foot. Either one is fine. Make sure your knee's tracking right over your ankle and the front leg. All right, here we go, those arm movements. This is kind of like to distract your mind so you can kind of forget about what's going on in your legs. Inhale, hands to the heart space. Inhale here, actually. Exhale, shoulder blades come back. Inhale, round the spine. And exhale, hands to the heart. One more time, deep breath in and out. Round the spine and land. Good, awesome. Straighten out your front leg as you step that back foot forward. This one's called Parsvottanasana, or runner's stretch. So you can keep your hands on your legs, on your hips. You could interlace your fingers if you wish. Take a nice deep breath in as you lengthen your spine forward, feeling your way down the leg, right? A deep bend in the knee if you need it here. Once you come to that place where you can lift up and have a halfway shape, lengthen your spine and then fold. Right, if you can get your hands to the floor, great. If you have blocks, you could use them to either side of your foot. You don't need to come down this far. If you feel a lot here, stay here. Good, let's inhale and rise up. Hands to the hips. Step forward and pause. Let's come down to the floor. I'm going to do a seated posture that I really like. It's got a hip opener and a hamstring stretch and a low back stretch in it. All in one fabulous yoga pose. All right, so the left leg will stay out in front of us, and the right foot's going to come to the inside of this left leg. Now, if you have a really hard time staying seated, like staying in an upright position in this pose, this is a great posture to stick the blanket underneath your bum, right? So just a little lift under your sit bones. You have to sit right on it. Just a little lift here might be just what the doctor ordered. The other thing you can do here is to put a block or a blanket or a cushion, if you have a pillow at home, underneath this right leg. Once again, if your hamstrings are tight, you might need to bend your knee. If you can keep it straight, go for it. Let's reach the arms up towards the sky. Take a nice deep breath in, and on an exhale, start to fold forward over this leg. All right, so you might stay up real high. All right, try not to do this. Look for length, shoulders away from the ears, and breathe. Maybe there's a little bit more space that you can take into this pose, into this shape. Here's another great place to use your strap, just saying. So our yoga props are never something that you should feel like, I want the prop. I've had students say this before, like, I don't want the prop because it makes me feel like I'm doing less of the pose. The props are here to help us, right? So for instance, it might be that your arms are not particularly long enough to reach for your feet. Maybe you have beautiful long legs. So the strap can be your friend here. Good, inhale and rise up. If you don't have props, get some, because they really make your practice much better. So the right foot can stay to the inside of the leg, or you can cross it. Your left heel could come in line with your right hip. We're moving into a twist from here. So hold on to this right leg with your left hand. Let's take our right hand right out to the horizon. Gaze over the middle finger. Take a breath in, and on an exhale, unwind. Lower the hand down. You can be on your fingertips or on your palm, whatever makes sense. Pull the shoulders away as you lift and lengthen up through the crown, and turn the gaze over that shoulder. Take a few deep breaths here. Don't lose the quality of your breath. Let's inhale and float the hand to the horizon, gaze right over that middle finger, and slowly exhale and bring it back. Good, let the hand come down. Float both legs out in front of you, give them a shake. So one thing I'd like to say to you guys about the breath too is that if you do find that you're practicing and you're having a hard time breathing, that's an indication that you're going too far into something, right? Or you might be a little bit in over your head, because some yoga classes are really hard. I mean, it happens to me too, and I've been practicing for a really long time, right? So arms up, legs extended. You can bend your knees a bit. Reach your arms towards your feet. Maybe you have no problem touching your feet. Maybe you can. It's really challenging. So just find that space. Notice the difference here in your two legs, right? Because we did two sets. We've only done the one side with those two poses. Good, once again, hinging at the hips, bend at your knees if you need it. And then slowly rise up, bringing the left foot to the inside of the right leg. Arms reach up. And remember, if you needed to cushion that knee, there's your block, or you could use a pillow. Reach up and then slowly start to reach forward, landing your hands wherever they do. On your leg, maybe you can reach for your foot. Once again, strap, right? Keep hinging at the hips and lengthening your spine as you come forward. You might even sway a bit from side to side. Inhale and bring it up. Lift the left leg up. So the knee is up towards the sky. You can keep the foot to the inside of the leg or cross it. The right heel can come over towards your left hip as you already start to twist in this pose. Right? Bring this hand, or you can even bring the knee to the inside of the elbow. Float your left hand to the horizon and slowly, following this hand with your gaze, find your twist. Breathe. Look over that back shoulder. Shoulders are away from the ears. Good, and let's come out really mindfully. Float the hand to the horizon and slowly unwind. Let the hand come down. Good. Shake out both legs one more time with the forward fold. Reach those arms up. Remember, you can bend your knees. Hinge at the hips and reach for the feet. Really release your low back in this shape. Good, and then we're going to slowly come up. If you have a blanket or a block or something to get your legs up on, like if you're right next to your sofa, right? You could put your legs right up on your sofa here. We're going to go upside down for a little bit. Nothing crazy. No handstands or headstands or anything like that. So we'll come down onto our backs for a bit. And take a moment just to adjust to being down on your back. I hope this feels okay for your spine, for your hips, your belly. Notice where your breath is. So the other option for legs up is just simply to stay here and bring your legs up. So if you don't have a prop with you and you don't feel like getting up, this is the perfect place to be, right? If you have a blanket or a pillow, you might want to roll that up. Place it right underneath your sacrum. If you had a yoga block, this is a great place to use that as well. And then bring the legs up. And what this does is it just gets the blood flowing a little bit more in the opposite direction, right? Brings our hips above our heart and our head. Right? And as our feet are up here, let's take a moment to roll the ankles around. So we did a really nice balancing practice tonight. Lots of work, lots of core work, work through your legs. So energetically, balancing postures are really good for grounding. So if you feel like, life is very chaotic, doing some standing postures and some balancing poses can be very helpful. Right? They keep you grounded into the earth, connected to the earth. Keep breathing here. Let's take 5 or 6 more breaths. And then slowly lower one foot down, and then the other. And pause here in a supported bridge pose. This is a wonderful inversion too if it ever feels too strenuous to get your legs up in the air. Good, let's lift those hips up. If you have a prop underneath your hips, take it out. Land your sacrum down on the floor, and let's try on a couple of poses from here. So try bringing the soles of your feet together. Sorry, I just knocked over my water bottle. Soles of your feet together and your knees out, and see what this feels like here. Right? You might be in heaven in this shape. Some of you might be like, I don't know, I don't really like this. Right? So then there's the opposite, where you walk your feet out to the edges of your mat and you knock your knees together. This will create a little bit more space in the sacrum. This could be a wonderful place to stay for the rest of our practice. Or, if you're comfortable in a full lying down position. Let's come into a full lying down position here. If you feel like, now I'm going to sit up, but I want you to stay laying down. If you feel like your body's going to cool down at this point, it might be a nice time to put a blanket on top of you, put your sweater on, put your socks on. All right, let's get warm and comfy and toasty for the icing on the cake of our yoga practice, Shavasana. If you're at all uncomfortable on your back, you can also lie on your side or on your stomach. All right, so let's find a comfortable space, wherever that is. Legs up on your chair can be really nice, or on your sofa. Good. Softly close your eyes. Let's all take a nice deep breath in through the nose. Open your mouth and give it a Let's do that 2 more times. And you might find that when you do these, you want to feel the sensation of really releasing everything down into the mat. So inhale. And exhale, relax. 1 more round like that. Inhale. And exhale. So I'm going to give you a brief guided relaxation. And when we come to the end of our practice together, I'm going to ring a bell 3 times. So that will indicate that the class is over for me. And if you want to just do an hour. But if you want to spend a little bit more time on your back in relaxation, I highly recommend it if you have the time. So you can feel free to stay at that point. Okay, so get comfortable and let's take a moment to notice the crown of our head. Right, and as you notice the crown of your head, see if you can actually relax the crown of your head and let your brow relax. Let your eyes be softly closed, right, not clenched shut. Your cheeks and your jaw relaxed. So it might feel nice to even hang your mouth open a little bit. This is another one of those spots where we hold tension. Right? But then if it's not, it doesn't feel quite right to leave your mouth hanging open, just close it, but let the teeth in the back of your mouth be separated. It might feel nice to move your head a little from side to side, just a little teeny movement of the chin. Relax your shoulders, tuck them under slightly. Let your arms just relax down by your sides. Notice if you're gripping anywhere, you're holding onto the earth. Let the palms float up and relax the arms. Take your attention down to your hips and your legs where we did so much work today. Right, and see if you can get them to relax. Low back, buttocks, thighs, knees, calves, ankles, feet. Heavy, weighted, relaxed, like muscles falling from bone. Right, and then we'll come back to the torso and we're going to take a couple more nice deep releasing breaths here. So please inhale through the nose, feel the belly expand. Rib cage opens up. And then that area around your heart. And then open your mouth and just give it a Let's do that 2 more times. So inhale, notice the back body. Low back, mid back, upper back. Exhale and release. And on this last big breath here together, really let everything go. Right? Inhale through the nose. Really expand with breath. Pause. And exhale and let go. Good. Make sure the whole physical body feels relaxed. If you are experiencing a place where you're sort of holding tension still, send a breath there. Send a little relaxation. Could you adjust yourself in some way? And then with your eyes softly closed, send your attention to those thoughts and distractions in your mind. without judgment, without having to follow these thoughts. Just notice them. Right? Here comes a thought. Maybe you'll notice there's a little space in between the next one that comes. Can you pause in those spaces? Relax.